Hey, welcome back. This is not a clickbait video, folks. We got problems. Social Security Administration is in trouble. And they just released some latest information that basically says that they're off again by their prediction of how long SSA is going to last, and that it's going to be reduced by at least another year at this point. And right now they're talking about a difference of, I'm sorry, I got it written down, I got to find it. Yeah, it's going to be 19% reduced benefits by 2034 now. And I think that number is going to continue to go down every year and get closer and closer and closer. And it's an issue because it doesn't just affect Social Security, it affects Medicaid, because Medicare is going to be reduced 11% as of 2033. So you have very little time left to spare. So if you have 10 years or more before you can retire or eligible for any of the benefits, your benefits are at risk and you can't count on Social Security at all anymore. And like I said, I think these numbers are going to get worse because they continue to kick this can down the road. Nobody wants to make a decision on fixing it because they're worried about the political repercussions. However, they're going to have real repercussions when you take all of these folks that have been putting into these programs for 20, 30, 40 years and tell them the money's gone because they gave it away or didn't invest it properly. And what really makes it funny for me is that they have trust advisors that monitor this situation, and they claim they've been sounding the alarm for years, and I believe they have to some degree, but aren't these folks supposed to be smarter than us? Aren't they supposed to be better with money? Because if you're monitoring a trust, wouldn't you try to look for better ways to maybe invest that money or to try to make it work better? Anyway, just my part of the rant. But here's part of the reason that these things are happening too. When this program was really kicked off, back in 1955, there was 8.6 workers for every person that was receiving benefits. So that's quite a few, right? You got 8 to 1 ratio of people putting in money versus people taking out. Well, now that ratio is only 2.8 per recipient, and it's going to get worse as more baby boomers retire and Gen Xers retire as you get closer, right? And I think videos like this, unfortunately, and news reports, if anybody that's close to retirement, 10, 15 years out or less, watches and follows this kind of stuff, makes the situation gather steam. And that's because as soon as you hear that your benefits may go down or may not be there, you may start collecting earlier to make sure you get your money, or at least what you can of your money. This just makes the case for people to start taking it at 62 instead of putting off to 65, 67, or even extending to 70. If you've got 10 years before you hit 65 and we're hoping to wait until 67 to take your withdrawal, that's going to be 12 years. It's going to be 3 or 4 years past this number of 2034, where the reductions are going to be in place for sure for everybody. So now you're staying and hoping to get a larger increase or a larger amount, and you're getting nothing. You're going to get less. So staying doesn't make any sense. Waiting to withdraw doesn't make any sense if you're going to lose 20% right out of the chute and you're banking to get an extra 20 by waiting. So again, I think it just makes the case to start taking it at 62, and even if you don't need the money, put it away, which is what I will plan to do. We're still trying to do the math and deciding if we're going to do it now or take it later. I'm not going to be 62 for 2 more years anyway, but it definitely makes a strong case to do it because you're better off putting that money away somewhere and at least trying to make 5% on it and getting ahead somewhere with that money. For me personally, that would give me 7, 8 years worth of investing that money before the reductions start. Hopefully that's enough to kind of offset what the reduction could be. No way to know for sure unless you find a good plan and fund it properly. But we have issues, and Social Security needs to get their act together, and the government officials that are in charge of making these decisions need to do something. Now, this trustee board has been saying that you need to start implementing something new now so that people have time to react to the changes, because it's probably going to be either an increase in taxes or they're going to have to change the way it's funded some other way, but it's still going to impact people everyday workers. So they need to put something in place and start implementing slowly over the next 5 years or so that people can adjust for it and get used to the tax burdens and et cetera that may go with it. But I wish that somebody would just finally do something about it. So again, if you got 10 years before you retire and you're counting on Social Security, you better count on taking, at least at this point, 19% less by that time, because that's when it'll hit, and probably more. Anyway, that's all I got today. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this. See you next time.